In 609 AD, the Byzantine emperor gifted the Pantheon in Rome, which was dedicated to all the Roman gods, to Pope Boniface IV. He, in turn, dedicated the Pantheon to Holy Mary and all the Christian martyrs. Henceforth, the Pope had established a feast day for all martyrs on May 13th. In the 8th century, Pope Gregory III dedicated a chapel in the Old St. Peter's Basilica in Rome to all the saints of the Catholic Church. Thus, he established a new feast day called All Saints' Day to be celebrated on November 1st in commemoration of all those people, known or unknown, whose souls rest in heaven. Pope Gregory III did not stop there. He expanded this feast day from a local celebration to a festivity for the entire Catholic Church everywhere. The day before All Saints' Day is October 31st, which was known as All Hallows' Eve. The word hallow means holy or saintly, so it roughly translates to the Eve of All Holy People's Day, or All Saints' Day. Over the years, the word morphed into Halloween. Whenever there is going to be a big religious festivity, Catholics begin celebrating the evening before. For example, Christmas Eve, Easter Vigil, or the Saturday Vigil Mass that counts as Sunday Mass, etc. Therefore, Halloween exists and is such a big holiday because the commemoration of all the saints begin October 31st and continue through November 1st. The traditions and manner people celebrate Halloween vary around the world, as there is no set way to celebrate a Catholic holiday. The tradition of trick-or-treating originated from the Irish custom of youngsters pranking neighbors, as they hid their identity with masks. However, it soon turned more into vandalism. Thus, the kids were encouraged to ask for treats as a bribe against doing tricks. Another form of trick-or-treating was known as guising. Here, the children would dress up and ask for sweets. Additionally, poor people used to go from door to door offering the members of the household prayers for them and for the souls of their deceased relatives, so that they could have eternal and peaceful rest. In exchange for these prayers, the poor would be given food, usually soul cakes. Praying for peace for the souls of the dead in exchange for food was called souling. The Celts were a people who ranged in Europe, from Portugal to Turkey. After the Roman Empire had conquered their lands in the 1st century BC, their culture thrived mostly in remote Ireland and northern Britain. The Celts celebrated their New Year on November 1st, which marked the end of the harvest and the beginning of winter, a season associated with human deaths. On the eve of their New Year, October 31st, they celebrated with a festival called Samhain. During October 31st and November 1st, the Celts believed that the veil between life and death was at its thinnest. Hence, ghosts and spirits would cross back to Earth to mingle among the living. During this time, the Celtic people would wear scary attire to blend in with the ghosts or scare away spirits. Many people have come to believe that Halloween is a pagan tradition from the Celts that was adopted by Christians. This is not a correct assumption. Halloween is not an ethnic festival. It is a religious one. It is Catholic. Of course, there are regional appropriations of the holiday, such as trick-or-treating from medieval Europe. But the association of Halloween with Samhain was more coincidental than actual. All Saints' Day, and consequently Halloween, originated in Rome, not Celtic Ireland. Though, historically, the Catholic Church may have assimilated certain cultural practices, the end result was not a thin covering called Christianity over pagan customs. Instead, a new cultural matrix arose that was authentically Christian. Catholic festivities, though they have the same meaning everywhere, are celebrated differently all around the world because people, upon accepting Christianity, never had to give up their culture. It was the Protestant belief that Catholicism was riddled with paganism and impurities that led to the large misconceptions on the holiday seen today. Namely, the Puritans set out to America in search of religious freedom because they considered the Church of England still had too much residual from Catholicism. In the course of history, when Catholic immigrants began arriving on Protestant America, for instance, during the Irish potato famine, the rise of cultural consternation, even between those of the same race, began to spread. Public displays of Catholic celebrations were problematic against the ideology of Protestantism, with Halloween being particularly troublesome. Accordingly, propaganda presented Catholic festivals as attempted pagan cover-ups. This misinformation took such a hold that many Catholics began to believe that their own customs were holdovers from paganism, consequences that can still be seen today. Therefore, the true Catholic nature of Halloween became muted. Catholic Halloween placed violence, horror, and death, which are sad realities of our world, into the context of Christ's victory over sin, death, and evil. The saints are proof of that victory, hence the celebration of All Saints' Day. Even though there are those who take Halloween as a time to conduct mischief of the grim kind, it does not mean that Catholics and non-Catholics alike must stay away from the event. In fact, it should be a time to make good out of it, such as spending a fun-filled night with family and friends. Today, children and adults can dress up as saints, professions, ghosts, skeletons, princesses, heroes, etc., and mingle with their community as they go from door to door asking for something good to eat. For the Catholic, Halloween is a time not only to have fun, but to muse over the lives of the saints and their achievement into heaven, pray for the departed, and be available to anybody who comes knocking at their door